continue with our training?
Yes.
Super, great. The second part of our training will be about upselling. So first of all, I'd like to go through the learning goals with you, so that you all remember what this part of the training was about. So firstly, this is about learning what upselling and cross-selling is and how to apply it. We split it up into other separate goals. So it's about learning the difference between upselling and cross-selling and to feel more confident selling a product. You can use this knowledge, for example, on your internship, but also now during your PE time, but also later in life. Alright, now I would like to start with the first part of the theory, which is about upselling and cross-selling. Upselling is when you, for example, a customer wants to buy a coffee. You want the customer to have even more satisfaction, so you upsell something of more value that will give the customer more satisfaction. So a good example of this is when you want to sell someone a coffee and then you sell them a cappuccino, so it's a bit nicer. Then secondly, there's another type of upselling. It's similar to upselling, but it's a little bit different. It's called cross-selling. And this is when, for example, someone buys a coffee and then you sell separate other things next to it to also increase the customer satisfaction. So this could be that someone buys a coffee and then you sell water and a cake with it, and that overall increases the customer satisfaction. Is both of this clear to you? Yes? You don't need any more examples? No? Okay, great. Then we go on to the second part of the theory.
So the second part, we wrote 5 tips for how to upsell. The first one is to make the upsell relevant to the customer's original purchase. So maybe someone has an idea what this could mean, or an example of this. Or maybe I could just point to Jill, maybe you have an example or an idea of what this means.
Well, it's say an upgrade from the original product, right?
Sorry?
It's like an upgrade from the original product.
Yeah, basically it's to make sure that what you try to upsell and cross-sell, it doesn't differ too much to what you tried first. So if you want to sell, for example, a washing machine, then you're not going to come and say, do you also want to buy this Audi? Because it doesn't make much sense, like why would they do that? So that's that first one. And the second one is you can try and make your upsell discounted. For example, you see this very often in restaurants that they say, you buy a coffee and if you buy this cake and a water, you'll get it cheaper than when you would buy with them. So, but I think Starbucks is very popular doing this, and also airplanes like to use this trick. The third one is make the upsell after the original purchase. Anyone have an idea why this is the case?
It's already going to guarantee that the person will buy that.
Exactly. Upselling could be, to some people, quite annoying. They definitely notice when you're trying to upsell it, so indeed saying that guarantee the sale before you upsell doesn't in any way hurt you worse than it could, because if you try to upsell before you can sell in your original, they might say, no, I don't want any of it anymore, which is damaging to yourself. The fourth point, sell something that solves a problem. So we learned this in the first half, that selling is very important in the sense that it has to satisfy the customer. So there has to be a problem that is solved by the customer. You don't go to upsell even more, even if it doesn't satisfy the customer, because it's very noticeable and it can be quite annoying. Fifth is eliminate risk. That's quite a vague one, as it's like this. But what it means is that you make sure that the upsell is beneficial and that it in no way hurts the customer, or in the end it won't turn out positive. Because if there is this risk that you upsell now and it seems satisfactory, but in the long term it isn't, it could backfire in the long term. That, for example, he would come back, leave a review saying, oh, this firm, they upsell this, but it wasn't actually good. So in that sense, eliminate risk here means eliminate risk or any negative effect that might be there that the customer didn't know about. Is everything clear to everyone? Andrew, question? No, still get to question.
Yeah. When you say make the upsell after the original purchase,
yes.
Further points, how are you meant to sell a cappuccino if you've already sold the coffee?
This one I think is more for example, if you're in a retail store and you're trying to sell a washing machine, keep going back to the washing machine example. If you sell a washing machine, then you have to make sure that he definitely already nearly bought it, and then maybe you can say, we also offer this and this. It's more an example, like you can also buy like a guarantee. Like in technical shops, they always say, like, okay, you bought this, cool, do you want this with it? After this, you're not going to say, we'll give you this, do you want it with it before you buy? It's, yeah, Joost, you have a question?
Do you have an example of number 5, the eliminated risk?
Yeah, the eliminated risk is a tough one because it's more of a long term. It basically what it means is don't lie to your customer. So you don't want to upsell something that you know is not good.
All right.
And don't promise something that you cannot deliver.
Yeah, basically that. Don't promise something. Is it a little more clear now? Okay, good. Then if no one else has any questions, we can move on.
Alright, now we're gonna do a couple of role plays to put everything that we've taught you today into practice. We're gonna do this in 3 rounds. So first of all, I'd like to divide you into different roles. So I'll just give you a number. You're number 1, number 2, number 3, and 1, number 2, number 3. And we're gonna split these 2 groups, so you will have an extra round. So you're 1, 2, and 1, 2. Right? I'll explain a bit more so it's more clear. Basically, there will be 3 rounds of 3 different scenarios, so that you can practice different types of selling. In the first round, we're gonna practice cross-selling. So in this situation, someone in the restaurant, everything by the way is in Zenk, so that you have an idea where you're at. A customer has bought a main course, and now you can cross-sell a cocktail with it. So we gave you a few sheets with a few examples of cocktails, but you're completely free to sell any other cocktail that you find suiting, but just for you, so that you have a better understanding. Oh, I will. Yeah. Oh, you can have a look at it now if you like. If you have any questions about the cocktail. Are the cocktails all clear to you? Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all familiar with them.
Alright, so if that's clear to everyone, then go to the second situation where I guess we'll try to sell, wants to buy a Coke, but you want to upsell this to a cocktail or virgin cocktail if the client so happens not to pick up.
Yeah, the virgin cocktail on your sheet is the
Yeah.
sorry, what's it called? Shirley Temple, yeah, thank you. Shirley Temple, so you can use that one if you don't know any other non-alcoholic cocktails. And then the last round is cross-selling again. So here someone would have bought a main, and then you are going to cross-sell a dessert with it for afterwards.
And for the third one, we're also going to try and mix the knowledge here in the first part where you have creative freedom with whatever product. So you can make up the product and the benefits of that product yourself.
Okay.
Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, and then now we're gonna play the first round. So you have 2 minutes for role play, and then after that you have 2 minutes to give feedback. During each round there are different roles, of course. So during round 1, person number 1 is the waiter, person number 2 is the guest, and then person number 3 is the observer. So for you there's no observer, but we will also be walking around, so we'll also provide you with some feedback, and you can give feedback to each other. So it's about someone bought a main, and you're cross-selling a cocktail with it. Right now we're going to give you a couple of minutes to gather your thoughts and plan how you're going to sell this. So yeah, just take a couple of minutes, think about the different steps you're going to take.
So anyone have any questions about the role play, or is it all clear? Yeah. Joost, you seem a little bit confused?
Now I'm thinking about the...
Oh, you're only thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. Then if no one has any further questions, then we can maybe start thinking about it.
Yeah, she's like role play, right?
yes. Oh, sorry, land in your head and then sorry.
Step ahead.
You wanna say
So then I think everyone's finished with the planning, right?
Yes.
Good. In that case, we can start. So again, person number 1. So the most left person of each team. You can start with being the salesperson, or in this case, the waiter.
Yeah, we will be walking around to give you some feedback afterwards, so don't get scared. Yes? Okay.
What was it again? To do the upstate? How long was it?
You have 2 minutes right now for person 1, the waiter, to
Yeah.
upsell, and then we'll have around 2 minutes of feedback.
That's
and then we'll go to the order. Yes? Alright. You can start.
That's more on the sweeter side. Just a little bit more. Yeah, that tastes like have a fresh flavor. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I realized that you said
Alright everyone, that was the end of the first round. Everyone's ready? Yeah, now you can have 2 minutes to give each other feedback. Yes, I'll give you 2 minutes to give
I saw something. Yeah, I think when
you said you wanted something
So the best thing to do in this place is just to make sure that the combination would make his or her life better. Like it would make the meal more delicious, and then there's basically here it's like just make sure that we're fine with that. But we'll
No way.
Yeah,
you
you
can
can
actually make it on
No, I think they're going to do round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, upselling.
All I was doing
Yeah.
kind of a level.
So then,
That's extremely
I think everyone's finished giving each other feedback. Great, then I want to just hear some things from the crowd maybe that stood out. Maybe over here, Michelle. One thing that Joost did well, one thing he didn't.
What he did well was he offered me like a cocktail pairing with the dish. So it was very nice. Like he said, like, yeah, it's like 20 flavors and dishes with cocktails. And then the point of improvement was really like listening a bit more to my inputs. So
Yeah.
What I'm saying for flavor profiles.
Okay, thank you. That's very good. Yeah, I heard a lot of the combination thing. They're saying this is going to go very well with this, and it's going to make the overall experience better, which is a very good way of approaching this specific situation. I heard also from Raquel, which is very nice. You tried to, you even asked me if it was okay to offer something else because it would give it a better experience, which is really good. You know, if you know that there is something that can make the life better than what's go for it. You know. Anything else? Tips, stops for people?
When Elizabeth sold me the cocktail, she listened to what I was saying, like what my preferences were. I didn't want alcohol, so she had cocktail, and you can see the interaction.
Yeah, it's like what we discussed in the first part, that asking questions is very important in trying to find out what the customer wants so that you can ultimately satisfy him or her. Do you have any?
Yeah, I agree with what I heard. I think you really applied what you learned during the first part, that you really try to understand what the customer wants also in this situation. And I think I also saw that you really did the role play of first ordering the main, which is what we wanted. So I think that went very well too. I just want to say one thing. You don't have to use these cocktails. If you want to sell wines, you can do that too. So I heard it over there. You can, you do need to do a cocktail, but not necessarily of the list. So you can also create another cocktail.
It's just to create inspiration. Yeah, so I agree. I heard a lot of, like I already mentioned, a lot of people talking about how the combination is going to eventually make the dish or the original dish even better, which is good because it means that the guest will feel like he's couldn't be more satisfied than he already is, which is really good. And then yes, like Andrew made a good point with the questions over here. I could have heard a little bit more trying to figure out also, like Michelle said, what exactly the customer wants, so then you can apply that knowledge to the product. Anyone else have any questions or points to make? Then we can go to the second round, which is again we're going to try. The guest is going to order Coca-Cola, and the waiter will have to upsell it to. We here an example of a cocktail, but let's just say a more expensive quality beverage. So again, we'll give you some time to think about it, because now that the second person is going to be the waiter, so the person in the middle, and for you, you just switch. So we'll give you 1 minute to think about that, and then we'll any questions? So you have 3 minutes to upsell your product, and then we're doing 2 minutes of feedback. Alright, so you can start now.
Good day, sir. How are you today?
You get another better. What are you gonna get?
So this is our compliment. Also we have to
Because I was thinking
yeah, this is our
When it comes to pairing,
okay, I'll get you some. I already know. So that's I feel like if I because our father is like many sugars and drinks, and then it's more of a
but that will balance out flavors very average.
Oh, you need some
Yes.
That makes me. Yeah. I think you had to give me what I say. Then I get married to
Hello, good evening. How are you?
food or drink.
That
was 3 minutes, guys. So if we can all just round off, that'd be great.
Okay.
Sorry guys. Sorry, can I have your attention please?
You want to make it even longer?
So now that we did that, again, we're going to give you a few minutes to do the feedback. So for you guys, you just switch, and you guys said you already did it. So then I'll pick what you guys said, and you guys can also just exchange some feedback. Is that okay? Then we're just going to give you some a minute or two to do that individually in your teams, and after that, we're going to share. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be sure to make sure that table is which is quite a good
You said how it worked. So when you said that, I was like,
Sometimes, but I also ask for the other parts. Like, oh, the house. Okay,
It always helps if you start with.
Do I have a full good about it?
Before I could even say it, just how it was.
Like a co-product that's helping
I don't know. Oh, that's right.
No, it's more serious.
Then I think everyone's finished with the feedback, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I already heard from you guys, and I will share it with the group later. But first, other teams, maybe some general feedback and thoughts for this round. How to go for here for Andrew, for example.
Yeah, it went well. I think he struggled a little bit because, yeah, I think Jill said something that he didn't expect, and he handled it really well.
What did he say? Yes.
Oh no, because as soon he said, "Oh, welcome," and then just said, "Oh, my Coke."
Oh, okay. Straight to the point.
Yeah, but Andrew's managed to sell him an alcoholic drink, and then just said, "Oh, well, I don't want an alcoholic drink." So then he was able to provide the mocktail.
Good.
Yeah, because I observed you a little bit, and indeed I noticed that you said that the Coke doesn't match with his dish. I think that's very good to show both the upsides and the downsides. To show why someone should go for the Coke or should go for the cocktail. So I think you did that really well. Nice.
Anything else on this side?
Yeah, what he did really good was what he did in the beginning. He said like the special of the week or something, and then he mentioned also applied with my Coke because it's already dark color. I want the Coke. And some fresh with some sparkling in it. So we already got the products. Wasn't in a cocktail compared to the Coke. Really nice. And he also got local projects, so he explained the whole theme of the week. And no, he did a really good job. That was.
That's actually a good point because this table, since they were down the feedback a little bit early, I talked to them what it was, and they actually raised that point where they said like the opening line to get into the upsell can be quite tricky to find.
Yeah.
But I think the line that Michelle used, which was it was like, have you heard of the Daily Deal?
Yeah.
Or the daily, I think it was like the daily cocktail, right? It's quite a good and quite common opening line to starting any upsell. Is like, okay, yeah, fine, but have you heard of this? And then, that's quite a good way to start initiating the upsell or the cross sell. Anything from the pair over there?
I think he was a bit surprised because I was acting a bit uninterested and I just wanted coffee. And then he was like, you don't have much where to go, so.
Yeah.
And then he started out with, he checked when he said promotions, have you ever checked out promotions of coffee? Then I was interested. And he was like, oh.
One thing I heard from your parents is that she wanted to go to coffee, and then you kept trying to get her to the cocktail list. Which is, if the guest wants a coffee, you should try to you should try to satisfy the guest. There is probably a reason behind it. In the sense, what Michelle did was different because he gave the option, and he didn't really insist on it. He was like, have you heard of this? If he says no, okay, he hasn't. You explain. If he says yes, I don't want it. So
It was a
I think so.
It is
Yeah.
split into an espresso martini, so it was
An espresso martini, that's the best of both. But I think she said it like twice or something. I think I heard her say twice. I said, no, I just want a coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe watching
But actually, I think she made a good point. Then she told me to ask her why, maybe like try to understand why she wants a coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
That just makes it easier to.
In that sense, you just, like I said, ask a lot of questions. Try see what the customer wants, why they're there. If you find out that the only reason she wants a coffee is for the caffeine, then you can offer her a rum and coke. For example, it's just quick out of my head. But yeah, that's for the rest. What I also saw over here from Michelle was that he used a very good body language to describe in the first part, where he was very open, good eye contact, good smiling, and also mimicking the body language. Anything?
No, I think it's enough for this round. Is everybody confident for the last round?
Yes.
Yes? Alright. The last round is going to be cross-selling again. But in this situation, it's a situation as a guest orders a main, and you're going to cross-sell a dessert with it.
And maybe just because you two teams, because such already two people, and you already talked to one another, maybe you can switch with the person, with one of the people here who's already done it, so then we can kind of switch it around. Could maybe be a good idea. So maybe Andrew or Elizabeth, you could switch with Michelle, for example, just to mix up the group a little bit. So then here now goes to talking to Andrew. Maybe Andrew is a more difficult guest to handle than Michelle.
Yes.
You want to do it again?
You will be the observer, and then you will be the waiter, right? And then you will be the...
I will tell you what to say.
So then you will be the.
Okay, you're the waiter. So
Yeah.
she still has to do the exercise. Yeah. And here folks have to do it. And here, Jill, you're the waiter that's doing it.
Yeah.
Good.
So, how was your...
One second.
Yes.
You don't have to, but I mean, so just to refresh again, the third round, it's some of the.
Sorry, are you clear on your roles?
No, not you.
Oh,
So like, you will be the observer, and then you haven't been the...
I've
You've been the waiter?
observer.
No, okay. Are you the waiter? What is your name? Then you switch the roles. So one of you can switch with her.
But who is one of them?
Yes, because otherwise you haven't been the waiter.
But I was going to do
Yeah, she was going to.
she was going to do the waiter.
Oh, okay. Then so one of you can do the waiter,
Okay,
whichever
cool.
one you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, I'll do the
You're the waiter,
I'll
and
do
then
that.
you're the guest, and then you're the observer. Okay, so is everyone clear then?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
So the third round is the guest is going to come in and is going to order a main course. But you, of course, as the waiter, want to sell more, so you're going to try also sell a dessert with it. Is that clear? So then again, some time to plan out how you're going to do this, and after that we can initiate the role plays. And for this, by the way, we don't have any menus or anything, so we're going to give you complete creative freedom for the desserts, just like we did in the first half of the workshop.
Nice. I thought you were going to say that.
Everyone seems complete, right? Everyone seems finished. Then we can just go ahead and start.
So, how did it pass
Sorry. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I would like to have falafel.
Would you like to pick 7th one? Would you like to
Yes, I'm trying.
try this?
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it.
Well, I'm yes, then we is it
Not just salad like all the restaurants, but like two
Oh, well, that sounds fantastic because I always struggle with dessert because then I'm not
Very light. If you want, you can switch it.
Which also
No, of course, why not?
Would you like anything else? Like
And for your own work. You're very welcome.
so anyone use me? We have this
you know, I will take that.
So we have this charge
I had a look at it, but I wasn't thinking about it. You've convinced me.
Yeah, okay, we have a thank you very much.
That was the order.
Yeah.
Are you like this?
Worst thing about it was just like, can I have I'm new, sorry. And they always struggle to get into a nice pair of pants and they're seeing you with your there's always trouble if you get all these chains on and try to launch. And then you just feel bad like, no, I don't like that.
But what was really nice is the idea of having like Steve and Lee and like it was something like
Okay, everybody, would you please? Yes. All right. Well, we finished the third role play, so now you have some time, 2 minutes again, to give each other feedback. All right. Okay.
Guys, Lincoln, I heard you guys already gave some feedback, right? So maybe they don't share your But so you try to sell your own.
Very nice that you said the Bernie Sanders that you mentioned. And you put a limit on it. It's like the start of the day, or it's like it's related to the environment. Or it to be something completely different, like, oh yeah, I'm a complete guy. So it's repeating. I think we can do it for anything. Yeah. And I really like that you compared the oh yeah, it's not just a normal food salad, like not the rest, because it's actually true. You can have this piece of worms that I would have.
So I think everyone's complete then, right, with the feedback?
Yes.
Good. Does anyone want to share feedback? I heard quite an interesting thing over here. Michelle, you want to share?
Yeah, Jill got good. He started off nicely, how are you doing, welcome, and then he had this idea, he wanted to sell Profit Oral at the dessert of the day, but then she said she's vegan, and so he got a bit stuck on it, because he was like, oh, it's an idea. But definitely one thing he did nicely was, he said like, oh yeah, so would you like a dessert, or you do a nice aftertaste in the mouth, and like that. So like, with what emotion would you leave the restaurant?
But that's quite an interesting thing that happened over here, is that he had something in mind that he wants to upsell, but then the guest came and told her demands, which he completely didn't expect. So maybe someone has a tip that Jill could do in the future when this happens, that could maybe prepare for or do something that would counter a situation like that.
Have a second option.
And a second option, I mean, legal option.
Yeah,
That's quite simple, yeah. But remember in the first part, we said one major point, which was to know your products. So in this sense, although he can't know his products, but that's why, so now we're just going to link it back a bit to the beginning, that's why it's important to know what products you sell. I know you couldn't do anything about it this time, but for in the future, if you know what products you have, then you will also be able to... Exactly, so... You did what you could this time, but just for in the future, if you have a list, it's important to. That's why it's important to know. Just linking back to the first part, what products you have and what you're selling. Anyone else had something?
I
think Kathy did very well. He says that, okay, so I asked for a vegan falafel, and then she's like, oh, but I asked, are you vegan yourself? No. And that's already setting the ground to know your customer. She's like, yes. And then she's like, oh, may I recommend that she recommended vegan tiramisu and address the pangs of her vegan fucking label. Where it's like, oh, it's not just a fruit salad like you find everywhere and every restaurant is actually vegan tiramisu. And then I was also like, I won. You know, it's like addressing the pains of
Yeah, that's very
the guests,
nice. That's very
normal
nice.
vegan guests.
Anything else? Actually, I do have a question. So if they didn't have a vegan option,
You know, the vegan option is nothing you can do about it. Sadly, you'd have to either get creative.
yeah.
Yes.
Maybe with the
And
chef.
could you go to the kitchen and
Probably go to the kitchen and ask if they can figure something out. Yeah.
Going back because I'm vegan, so I've been to French restaurants where French people are not vegan. Then I go to the menu and I look and I'm like, okay, you have pasta, you have vegetables, you have this and this, can you combine it? And
yeah, yeah.
So they know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely try everything to personalize the product to the guest.
In a good restaurant, what would happen is a waiter would go to the kitchen. Excuse me, guys, can we stay with you a little bit? So what would happen in a good restaurant is the waiter would go to the kitchen and see, we have this guest, she or he really wants a dessert, but she's vegan. Can we do something?
Yeah.
And then you would work it out with the kitchen. Usually, they can do something.
Yeah.
Just because it's not on the menu doesn't mean they can. Any other questions or remarks? I think we'll just quickly get into some feedback. We saw again Joost on this side. Your body language was really good this time. You smiled a lot and you had good eye contact. Both of you actually, which was very good. Here. Oh yeah, and also back to your creative way of starting the conversation with the PE thing. You're like, oh, here in this restaurant, what we do is we have PEs and they make dessert, which is quite a good way of initiating the conversation about the upselling.
Yeah, the one thing I would like to add is that it can also really help to go through the whole role play. Because, for example, with your team, you directly started with selling the dessert. If you find out what kind of main she has, you can create more of a story and more of a feeling, which you did in the end. But if you really understand what the customer is eating as a main, it's easier to find, for example, a dessert that suits it and to convince the customer to buy it. Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add. I think everything else is really important.
Actually, the way she approached me was she asked me how was my meal, and she suggested like the dessert, which was like it would go well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
really.
everything.
They create complete feeling. Yes. Alright.
Thank you for that.
Anything else you'd like to add? No? Alright. We're going to go on to the end of this training, which is a reflection of, first of all, this whole exercise and then of the whole day. So I'd first like to ask you, how was this exercise for you? Also compared to the first exercise. Would you like to start with you, Andrew? How did you experience it?
Well, it was a bit similar because of the role play idea, but it was in both cases very useful. And really understanding the contrast between upselling and cross-selling, and then just different tips and tricks throughout the way, just how to do better. And even for the first, you guys were very informative and very helpful.
Did you feel like you could use both theories?
Oh yes.
Yes. That's good. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, for me, with the first exercise we did, it was a random product, and now you actually apply it with hospitality in restaurants and drinks, and so it's more also helpful for yourself, because I still work in restaurants, so you can maybe apply it even in the weekend when I have to work again. So yeah, thank you for joining this one.
How did you find this exercise?
I think like actually doing it, it's useful because when the things that were on the slides are straightforward and we all can understand that, then sometimes we tend to commit some of these mistakes. So yeah, and it's good to create awareness of what we do.
Thank you. And Brittany?
I think it was really nice and so it's like you could recap because feedback you can forget. Even after like if you answered with this course, it's nice to have back.
Thank you. And for you,
actually, although I basically I didn't know the difference between upselling and cross-selling, but from this question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the mix of theory and actually practicing it. And also the constant feedback is good because you find in a lot of classes here, they tell you the theory or they make you do a role play and then you don't see the point of it. But having this together, it was well-rounded and understandable.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Andrew?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the role play because I also got to I was already planning ahead and then suddenly I got my time got parted in a week and yeah, that was really nice that the workshop also felt like I have a lot of plan to know everything, get to know all the information that's
Yeah, I agree with all of the above, and I really like the fact that we always share the feedback, because then you also get the points of what others did, what did they do right, what did they do wrong. So it's very rich.
Yeah, I don't really like upselling, but this is really nice because it's nice to practice something because it's it makes it less, I guess, scary, should I say. And yeah, a lot of theory and practical mixture and nice having feedback and just practicing and making it easier.
Okay, thank you. Then we're going to get into just a final evaluation. We're going to be using Menti. Did anyone hear this before? Basically, get your phones out. We know we made the rule no phones, but exceptions. And go to mentimeter.com, or I think it's just Menti, right?
No, you need to Menti. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it says Mentimeter, but I think Menti.com also works.
Yeah, the code is 1653 3. Yeah, you can only fill in the first question and altogether we go to the next one. For now, we oh yeah, you can only do.
This is one main key takeaway. So like the big thing you learn is
Yeah, let's just do it.
Sorry, just one is okay.
Yeah, then we have all of them. That's all the key takeaways. So I think people can just quickly have a quick look at them if you haven't already and just see maybe that's quite that's quite a good point.
I would like to look at the learning goals again because I do see a lot of them reflecting. So first one was to know what makes a good salesperson and be able to apply the skills to any product. I see it come back in a lot of these key takeaways. Do you feel like you all know better what a good salesperson is and how to apply it? Yes? Super. And then secondly, for the upselling and cross-selling part, the main learning goal is to learn what upselling and cross-selling is and how to apply it. I also see that in almost everything. Does everyone also feel they feel more confident doing this? They reach a learning goal, yeah? Great.
Great.
Would you like to highlight anything else?
No, I think we're gonna go to the next word. I believe word. This right. Yeah. I think you just press refresh on your phones and it should
Give
go
you
to the
three
next
boxes.
question.
Yeah.
And the three things that went well, this is regarding yourselves or us.
Take it away again.
Or it's mostly about the whole.
I've refreshed, but not.
Yeah, I refreshed and I still get the first
Me
question.
too.
Yeah.
You guys say?
Is that for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually refreshed the
No,
whole
I'm trying
page.
to. I get
Oh,
it. Yeah, but then it got
Weird.
to the first question again.
See what you
Oh, you lost all the questions? Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I only have the first question.
Maybe we need to log in again. With the code.
No, that shouldn't be.
What is your key takeaway?
Okay, sorry about it.
Or if it doesn't work, we'll just discuss it. Yeah, we'll do it for sure.
Did you try to refresh again?
Yeah.
Just yeah, so yeah, I'm sitting.
Okay, can you just do the
Yeah, well then we'll just do it the good old way.
It's
Talking.
Talking, yes. Who does that in 2018?
so it's close.
Yeah, so maybe we can all just actually one by one just share three things that you think went well in the workshop. So and just three words you think of like what went well as what you learned.
Upselling, combining, upselling, sorry, the role plays, structure, improvise, feedback, and cross. Okay.
Yeah, definitely feedback. Not to personalize. Yeah, and keep in mind because
It works.
That's
I
very
know
good.
you mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. But then I think it works now. So then just to say, yeah, at the same time we can maybe
Oh, now.
good.
There it is.
Okay. I just have one question. Oh, we're not done yet? That's done? Oh, okay. Approaching?
Yeah, that's me. How to approach the guests.
How to approach your guests? Oh, okay. I just.
But I didn't do it in one word, so.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any questions here? I think the rest is.
Yeah, would anyone like to talk about what they filled in? Because I think you were halfway getting
Yeah,
everyone's
sorry.
input. Does anyone want to explain what they filled in?
Don't have.
No? Okay. Then we can go to the next question.
Does it work?
Hopefully it will work. Yes,
Yay.
good question.
And the 3 points of improvement is mostly for us.
For the training.
For the trainers.
Trainers.
Trainers or training. It's mostly feedback for us. Thanks.
Can you skip? We can just look at
And be critical, guys. We can take it. Yes.
Okay.
Suddenly everybody jumps in.
Should be one more person. Oh, well, I see a few things that are similar, like the layout of the PowerPoint and the pictures. The person just filling in pictures, do you mean that there are not enough pictures?
Kind of.
You just didn't like them in general.
Just the pictures were nice.
Yeah, no,
Those are
yeah,
fun
like
too,
that.
but they're
That's-
insane.
It's looked a bit. Yeah, not messy.
Oh.
Just like could have been a
Yeah,
high
Friday.
video.
Okay.
Just like different format.
Okay, sure. Well, thank you for your feedback. Do you have anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I think it's quite clear.
Alright. And then I would just like to ask you if you have any other feedback for us, for the training in general, anything else you'd like to share with us?
I actually think like your feedback part was really nice, very enjoyable, constructive.
No, good structure. Also.
No, we're not, but I think maybe it's nice if you put one or two people to actually do it in front of everyone because you learn a lot by doing this one.
Yes.
So when it's in spotlight, it's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
One impression. Make it for you. It's fun to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.